Green. This is episode 6 of the Mindset Reflexology show. It is Wednesday, the 23rd of Feb 2022. What a big day yesterday was for the numerologists amongst us. The 22nd of the 2nd, 22. Not something that was particularly pertinent to me, but just interesting nonetheless. So we're just counting down till 9 o'clock here, Australian Eastern Daylight Time. Hopefully wherever you are in the world, it's not too unreasonable to be catching this. And if perchance you watch it at a later time, you can do that over on the YouTube channel, the Mindset Reflexology show. So today I am going to talk a little bit more about my story. Having traded for so long, since the mid-90s, my story is quite a long, winding one. And I certainly would like to touch on different parts of that at different times. But today, the title of the show is, my turning point, how I became a profitable trader. A little bit like what you read in the movies about movie stars. It took me 10 years to become an overnight sensation. It's a little bit like that with trading. And I've been asked many times, what was the specific detail, the exact turning point when I went from being a losing trader or at the very best a break-even trader, to becoming a winning trader. What was that moment? So as always with the show, I've got my notes in front of me, which I'll be reading from. And the reason I do that is to keep the show short, sharp, on point, and not too much off on tangents, because there's always a message, there's always a lesson, there's always a learning in these episodes. So it's really important that the content is something that is meaningful and relevant to take away into your own thought processes of trading. So, it's an interesting question, and I believe that traders fall generally into two categories when it comes to transitioning from being a losing trader to a winning trader. And I consider break-even a winning trader, by the way. All right. So I'm including break-even trading in the winning camp, because, if you can go into the most competitive market in the world, the zero-sum game of trading, and pit yourself against some of the brightest minds, some of which are moving around many billions of dollars. And if you can go into that shark-infested pool and with your own money and come out with your money, with your limbs intact, your arms, your legs, you still got your pants on, your underwear, your shirt, they didn't rob you blind, they didn't take anything from you. Look, oh my goodness, congratulations, that's a win, all right? Because it's shark infested. To make $1 in the markets, you have to be taking $1 from someone else, and people don't give up their money easily. So you're a winning trader if you're a break-even trader. Congratulate yourself, okay? Now, I believe, as I said, that traders fall into two categories when it comes to making that transition. One is where you start to see glimpses of who you're going to be in the future. You're really struggling, you're really bad, you're hemorrhaging money, so you're really bad, but you start to see occasional moments of goodness. And you're like, whoa, I did really well these last couple of days, and then boom, it'll disappear, and you go back to being a bad trader, one of the 95%. Bad. But then again, there'll be, wow, on this particular day, I did almost every single thing flawlessly, and then, as I said, boom, it'll disappear. That's the journey. Now, that type of trader will gradually, if they apply themselves, that gap between the good period starts to get smaller, and the duration of the good period starts to get longer. So maybe in the past, the good periods lasted maybe a couple of days, and it's like you can't get past those 2 good days, all right? And that happens, say, once a month. So they've got this duration of good periods, say 2 days, and the frequency is once a month. Now, it's they get that duration of 2 days, but it's happening now 3 times a month. So it's improving. So the period of goodness hasn't extended, but the frequency of them has. So you're getting better, okay? So you're stretching out the frequency of your good periods, and now you're stretching out the length to maybe 3 or 4 days sometimes, and that's happening 4 times a month. So and you get a week. Maybe you put in a week of solid good trading. So this is the gradual turn that tends to happen with some traders. It's gradual, incremental, little bit by little bit. And those bright days get longer and the dark periods get shorter until there's more light than darkness, okay? That can happen over months or years. Then there's the category that I was in, okay? We're getting to that. And to be honest with you, I don't wish this category on you, but you might be in this category. And that is the category where there is no light. You almost never see light. There are no 2 days. There's just losing after losing after losing day, to the point, with the very occasional win where you think, like, how can someone be this bad at something? How can I break mathematical law? I mean, if I flip a bloomin' coin long enough, I'm going to get practically 50-50, 50% heads, 50% tails. And with my trading, I can't even get 50-50. I can't even do that. How can I flip a coin and win sometimes? And yet in trading, how can I lose 95% of the time, right? How can I be this bad? That was the category that I fell into. And it was so sad that sometimes I would just crack up because I was really in disbelief. I was committed, but I was in disbelief. And you know how the Joker from the Batman laughs, that really crazy, hysterical laughing? Well, I would occasionally do that because really the alternative was to break down and cry. And there are some traders that fall into that group where you don't see any light whatsoever until one magical day. And I'm telling you, traders, it literally happens in one seminal day, like it did for me. And I remember it like it was yesterday. It's probably close to 20 years ago now, but I remember it like it was yesterday. And from that day on, everything changed. Everything. Now, I'm not saying I went from chronically losing every day to being a multi-million-dollar trader. Okay? No. But I did get markedly better in one day. Now, let's think about this. From the outside, looking at my record, it would appear as though it was almost like it was a magical event, that I went from 0 to 100 in an instant. But no, that wasn't the case. There was growth happening all the while, but underneath. If you've ever heard that story about the bamboo plant, about how bamboo plants don't look like anything's happening for years, but all of a sudden, all of the growth happens very quickly. It can be like that with trading. So losing can be the growth that's happening underneath, right? It's not visible, but you can actually be getting better, but your record can show that you're actually worse. Right? This is the paradox, the dichotomy of trading. And a lot of people don't understand this in trading, and that's when they quit and maybe even start to call the whole activity a scam, because they're asking themselves, how can I be getting better? How can I be getting more educated? How can I be getting more trained? How can I be getting more disciplined? And yet my record shows that I'm actually dumber than I was when I knew nothing. My record shows that. How can I make more money when I knew nothing and lose more money when I know everything? This is the great intellectual challenge of trading, and what a lot of traders run headlong into. Okay, it's just what happened to me. And it's a fairly normal occurrence, guys, that really strange dichotomy, that strange, weird period when you're smarter, you're more skilled, but your account is in a straight down trend. You're in an uptrend, knowledge and skill-wise, but your account's in a downtrend. It's telling you something. How can that be? And that's what I experienced. And what I realized looking back is that I was so deep that I couldn't see the turn building back to the upside. So the turn back to the upside was happening, but it was coming from so deeply below break even, below the light, as it were, that you can't, and I couldn't see the movement up until it breaks. And that break into the light appears like, it's one day it just happens, and you're like, how did that happen? But, you were rising. I was rising in the darkness underneath. It just wasn't perceptible to the eye for a long period of time. So when I tell my trader clients that I coach that you're going to fall into one of these two groups, they instantly want to know, well, Ash, what's the best group? What's the best way? And I believe the best way is not that way, the way that I went down. That way ends the careers of a huge amount of traders, right? Not the way that it happened to me. I believe the best way is the other way, to see glimpses of yourself, glimpses of the inner master trader that you can transform into. That gives you much more hope. That approach has much more hope, that you see breakthroughs. They might come and go and you might not understand them, and that's normal, but at least you're seeing glimpses of what is to come, and it keeps you in the game longer. And this is the game of trading, staying alive in the game long enough, right, to figure this stuff out, right? Hello, by the way, Lygia. You're such a wonderful supporter. I just wanted to highlight your comment in the middle of the show there. It's good afternoon. Great to see you. So seeing these glimpses of light, is the way, right? It keeps you in the game longer. That is the key. Now, if you fall into my category, that cemetery in that category, that's where all the dead people are, that is much larger. There's greater trader deaths in that darkness category versus the periodic light category. So hopefully my story will highlight that, okay? So if I can wish one on you, I wish the periodic light category. But, if you're in the darkness category, this is for you. And I don't know this for sure, but I don't think you can choose, if I'm being honest. I think it's just based on what you bring to the table. I don't think you can choose which one you are, because, a huge part of trading, as you know, with me, I talk about this all the time. Your path is largely determined by what you bring to the market. This is why the journey is so personal. I was talking to one of my clients the other day, and we were talking about this at length, and he was questioning me, like, why do so many different traders get different results following exactly the same system and exactly the same path? It's because human beings bring a different set of baggage to the table. And what you end up trading, what shows up in your trading account, is your beliefs. It's your emotional baggage and emotional pain that you bring to the table. Trading strips away all of the masks and reveals that emotional baggage. That's why everyone gets different results following the same path. Okay? That's why it's so different. That's why it's so difficult, So I ask you, what baggage do you bring? Because your baggage is going to be different to another trader's baggage. The baggage that you have to deal with and get rid of, right? You don't want to get rid of it often, right? Just think about it. It's part of you. It's part of your journey. It's part of your identity. But the market is going to demand that you get rid of the baggage. And no doubt, some of you are going to feel like it's, Gucci or Louis Vuitton luggage. You're going to be thinking, I invested a lot in this luggage, this baggage. And the market's going to say, get rid of it. Get rid of that nonsense. That's rubbish. And that's really, really hard at a human emotional level, especially without any coaching and mentoring oversight to guide you on that path. And then we have another trader who might bring a little duffel bag to the market, and they're going to have to get rid of that. But getting rid of a duffel bag versus a 14-piece Gucci or Louis Vuitton luggage set are two different things. So your path is going to be largely determined by who you are and what you bring to the market, whether you have a propensity to be disciplined, whether you are someone who really likes to be right. Spoken about that many times, that innate human desire and urge to be right. You struggle and strain to win every argument. That's a trait that's going to spill over into your trading, good or bad. So whether you have won, whether you're used to winning in life, all right, that's what you bring to the trading environment, all right, which is usually, when it comes to trading, a negative. Believe it or not, the desire to win and desire to be right and to prove yourself is a negative to bring to the market. So that person who's used to winning in life is going to be completely broken down by the market, because it's not a game of winning. It's a game of how to lose properly. And a lot of traders fail to realize that. You lose your way to success in this game. You don't win your way to winning. You lose your way to winning. All right? It's through the process of losing that you become successful. It's through the process of learning what not to do so that what's left is what you should be doing, right? And this is the process of retraining your mind, right? Because your mind is your biggest competitive advantage, but it takes losing a lot to focus our attention in the right place and to retrain the mind. You can't go directly to doing what you should do without removing what you shouldn't do first. It's what happened to me, right? So everything's backwards, right? You think you can come into training, learn how to trade and be successful, but it's actually in reverse. You got to have everything stripped away first to fully understand what's required. And so you learn to lose properly, and by learning to lose properly, it's like all of a sudden, you look, oh my God, I'm profitable. Look at that. I wasn't even trying to be profitable. I was just trying to lose properly, and all of a sudden the profits started appearing. I hope that comes through. You don't make money in trading by trying to make money. You make money in trading by focusing on the process and learning how to lose really well and minimize that, and then the profits start to appear on the other side of that. And now that's how I became successful as a trader, right? It finally dawned on me, stop trying to win. I'll never get this if I'm continuing trying to win, right? And I really had to get my head belted in a few times to learn to try to do the right thing from the loss side. That emotional intelligence was the name of the game. And that's the moment that my life changed. My trading life changed when the pain of losing eventually became so great that I had to change directions. And that was building. But I wasn't aware of it. It was building through the process of losing and learning, staying alive long enough. And then boom, all of a sudden one day, the sprouts came out of the ground, the green shoots came out of the ground, and I was on my way, right? Emotional intelligence. So, a little example, for example, if you buy a stock, for example, and it goes up $2, what did you actually do except pray that it would go up, right? This is a really important point. I'll say that again. You buy a stock and it goes up $2. What did you actually do except pray? You didn't call up your billionaire friends and say, hey guys, I just bought XYZ stock. Can you throw a couple of $1 billion at it to move the market in my favor and push it up to $2? Of course you didn't do that. You didn't physically do anything. You didn't push the stock up. You did nothing but pray. So the point here is the market didn't need you to do that $2 move. But if you have a maximum loss of 100 and you buy your stock and you eliminate that stock at a $90 loss, and now it's down $2, which would have been a $200 loss, what did you do? Because if you did nothing, you would have lost $2, right? Right? Understand that. But if you did something to make it a $90 loss, you see what I'm saying. And this applies to all forms of trading, to all methods and all markets. Your job is not on the winning side because you don't do anything. Your job is to make sure the losing side is handled correctly. And the market's job is to handle the winning side. It's a partnership. But there are far too many traders trying to do the market's job, and they're leaving their post. They're leaving the job untouched, unfocused. So you lose your way to winning. This is a real important mindset shift. You must lose your life to gain your life first. You must lose your life to gain your life first. You always have to deal with the loss side first. You must squat before you leap. You must pull the bow back before it springs forward. You need to focus on your losses before you can become a winner. Pretty much everything in life is that way, don't you think? But unfortunately, it's like, no. I want to be right. I want to win. I want to make money. Me, I was an emotional Neanderthal. I wanted to deal not with the losses. I just wanted to focus on trying to be a good winner. That was not my job, as it turns out. And this is what extends the journey for so many traders. They don't need to be, that long on the path of trying to become consistent, but they tend to extend their journey by focusing on the wrong thing. And that is where a mentor or someone who's gone down the path that knows all the dead ends that can prevent you from, going too far and basically getting killed as a trader. That's the value of where a good mentor, coach, guide comes from. All right. So, I've probably gone off in a little bit of a tangent there, but, this is such a great topic that a lot more people need to be aware of. So my journey, my aha moment was when all of the losing, which I hated, right? It was such a difficult emotional journey. And, I stayed alive long enough that all of the learning that was happening underneath my awareness popped one day when, I recognized that managing the losing really, really well was what produced the winning. Managing the losing really well was what produced the winning. Okay, guys, I hope that you enjoyed this chat. I'd like some feedback. If you'd like me to tell some more of my sort of personal story, there's a lot more other things that form that story, but this is one pivotal story about really when my chart turned upwards at a trading profit level, right? My knowledge had been increasing, my skill had been increasing, my method had been improving, but I kept losing money. And eventually I turned that corner when I realized that this thing, my mind, was the most competitive advantage that I possessed. Okay. Have a fantastic day. Happy trading. Keep focusing on building your mind the right way. And I'd love any feedback that any of you guys have. If you haven't caught this episode live, I'll post it on LinkedIn, and you can jump over to the link and catch the replay on YouTube. Have a fantastic day.